Now, residents and civil society activists held a mass protest against demolitions and forced evictions across parts of Lagos. Organizers of the protest say thousands of homes and businesses have either been demolished or are under threat, allegedly by the state government. Now, News Central's Victor Mbadike is here with me. Victor, good afternoon. I'm just going to go straight to the point. I saw a video where your eyes were swollen. So the protesters were allegedly tear-gassed and you were there. Paint a picture of what happened. Tell us.
Okay, so first off, to just put a background to this, the protesters you saw a culmination of members of different communities in Lagos. From Makoko, Ajegunle, Ode, Niri, different parts, people who felt that the government have done injustice to them by demolishing their homes, their offices, their place of work and all of that. So those were the hundreds of persons you saw, asking government that if you're going to take us out of this our place of work and our homes, where else do you want us to go to? And so they marched straight to the State Assembly to see if they can get audience with state officials and of course with the state governor. And so while they were seated, because one of the leaders of the protest, Soweto himself, asked the entire protesters to get to sit down. I don't know if we can get that on the screen. So they all sat and they were all listening to what the organizers were saying. They're just having their normal chit chat and all of that, expecting officials to come out and address them. I think after about 20 minutes, just from nowhere, it's when birds just fly over your head. That's how we saw canisters just flying everywhere. And so before we could say Jack, there was chaos. And you look at that, hundreds of persons in that place. If you're not careful, you could be stamped or stomped on. And so that was one of my fears. But one of the luck I had was I was quite close to, I was a little away from the overcrowded space. Otherwise, I would have been stomped on because a lot of people were, falling on themselves and all of that. And I was so careful with our equipment as well. So these canisters were flying everywhere. 3, 4, 5, 10s were, dispersed at once. So while we saw, women with their children on their backs falling off, some other persons, the food they were selling, everything was just falling off. Everybody left whatever they were doing and they ran for their lives. I don't know if we have that on picture. One of them is really seriously injured as we speak and is in the hospital.
Oh, wow. So
at the time that happened, we didn't know, some of us could not even breathe well because the canisters got to us as close as possible. And at some point, I was even hugging a tree to see if I can catch some breath. So by the time we were able to, come back to the scene, I met with the commissioner of police and asked him, why did he do that? And then he said, didn't I see the way they were insulting him?
Oh.
That Soweto himself, one of the organizers, and some of the other protesters were calling him names. Some says he was vomiting, he vomits blood, and so many things are hidden like that. And again, he said they filtered too much on the major road, so more like they were causing traffic. And one of the things he told them not to do was what they were actually doing.
Which is not cause traffic or not insult him.
Well, I believe that wouldn't pass as an excuse to me, basically. And I asked him, even if you have to use minimal force, do you have to use tear gas on people, particularly women who had their babies on their backs? I mean, is there no better way to, maybe talk to these guys or do something?
Yes.
Why use such? What about? I imagine those who had asthma or who had some very, terminal diseases.
So the protesters got to this place for how long were they there before the commissioner came out?
No, so the commissioner, so the thing is, when they left Ikeja under bridge, the police followed them just for orderliness sake.
Okay.
And by the time they got to the entrance of the State Assembly, they had not spent 20 minutes
before
when this incident happened. Apparently, they didn't want them to stay that long there. They wanted them out of that scene, but they stood their ground. They say, until we get officials to speak to us, we're not going to go anywhere. So
why they stayed there for 20 minutes after police escorted them peacefully there, no official came out to address them?
No.
So what the address they got was being tear gassed?
So the address was, leave this place, that sort. So when they refused, the police officers would just go back and just keep watching them while they keep doing their talk. A lot of the protesters were just giving testimonies and talking about how much they've suffered since blah, blah, normal talks. And no other warning shot. The only warning shot they had was canisters flying like birds.
Well, thank you, Victor, first off, for doing this report. And again, sorry about the tear gas, and to all the protesters who were tear gassed. This is...
so before we go, we must also note that, because I need to follow up,
yes.
we understand that Soweto, one of the major organizers of the incident, is nowhere to be found. And so when we spoke with his other comrades, they said that he was picked up, because when the tear gas was fired, there was chaos. Everybody ran. So nobody even knows
where and where.
Just, by the time they all found a place of safety, before they began to remember, oh, I was with this person, where's this person? And they couldn't find him. You know, when I went down...
What's his full name?
Taiwo Hassan. That's his
name. So his nickname is Soweto?
His nickname is Soweto.
Okay. So let's hope that, he's being found, and let's hope that, they get answers to this demolition, because again, it's funny how, Nigerians speak up and they don't get response. Instead, they're allegedly being tear gassed, including my colleague. Well, thank you, Victor, for that report.